July 11th, 2022, Lafayette, Indiana. It's past midnight when a fire breaks out on the front porch of a two-story home. Within minutes, the flames spread through the living room and tear up the staircase. Emergency dispatch has been alerted, but fire engines are still several miles out. Inside the second-floor bedrooms, 4 children are trapped in the blistering heat. They do not have minutes, they have seconds. 25-year-old Nicholas Bostic is out making pizza deliveries when he spots the glow. He pulls over. He doesn't have protective gear, and he doesn't know who is inside. He simply runs to the back door and forces his way in. The smoke is so thick it is pitch black. Bostic searches the second floor, finds the oldest children, and leads them out. Learning a 6-year-old is still missing, he plunges back into the toxic smoke. He locates her by her cries, wraps her in his arms, and punches a second-story window out with his bare fist to leap outside. When a massive emergency strikes, modern society relies heavily on professional 911 systems. But Bostic's actions highlight a terrifying reality. The gap between the start of a disaster and the arrival of a fire engine often requires an untrained civilian to step in and risk their own life. We understand professional first responders. They train, they follow protocols, and they get paid to take risks. But when an ordinary person abandons every instinct of self-preservation for a total stranger, society struggles to neatly categorize that behavior. There is, however, an institution that has spent over a century studying exactly this. Since 1904, the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission has operated in the background, quietly hunting for the rarest trait in civilization. The commission does not make decisions based on emotional news coverage or social media hype. They evaluate potential heroes using a rigid, literal checklist. By applying cold, objective metrics to the most chaotic moments of human existence, the Commission strips away the mythology of bravery. They turn heroism into a verifiable fact. To understand this checklist, we have to look at the winter of 1904. In January, an explosion ripped through the Harwick coal mine near Pittsburgh, trapping 179 men underground. The disaster was devastating, but one specific detail stood out. 2 men, engineer Selwyn Taylor and miner Daniel Lyle, arrived at the surface and knowingly descended into the poisonous air of the stricken mine. They died trying to save the others. That dual sacrifice caught the attention of industrialist Andrew Carnegie. He realized that when citizens die for their fellow man, they leave behind widows and orphans. He believed society had a fiscal responsibility to build a safety net for these heroes of civilization. He established a $5 million fund and drafted the foundational deed of trust to govern it. Before Harwick, stepping into a fire or a collapsed mine was viewed simply as a tragic, uncompensated sacrifice. The creation of this fund recognized extreme bravery as a civic duty worthy of financial protection. The Commission's first requirement is strict. The rescuer must be a civilian. If you are a police officer, a firefighter, or a lifeguard, you are disqualified. The act must be entirely outside the scope of your daily profession. This criterion surfaces people you would never expect. It highlights 12-year-old Ramir Parker and teenager Landon, who navigated blinding smoke to pull their siblings from burning homes. They acted purely on civilian instinct. Second, the Commission demands proof of an extraordinary risk of death or serious physical injury to the rescuer. A simple act of helping someone is not enough. Consider Shanika, a teenager with asthma. She ran back into a burning apartment building multiple times to carry out young children. She inhaled so much smoke that she fainted on the lawn, required CPR, and was hospitalized. The physical toll must be severe. Finally, the rescuer cannot be at fault for causing the crisis in the first place, and they must willingly volunteer to take on the risk, fully aware of the danger. The Commission throws out thousands of nominations. The Carnegie Medal is never handed out as a participation trophy. Passing this vetting process proves the act was a deliberate display of ultimate selflessness. When a civilian meets every item on this punishing checklist, they receive a physical testament to their actions, a bronze medallion. Beyond the medallion itself, the fund provides immediate financial stability. Awards translate into direct monetary grants, support for heroes with permanent disabilities, and scholarship assistance for higher education. Most importantly, the fund fulfills Carnegie's original promise to the miners at Harwick. If a rescuer loses their life in the attempt, The commission steps in to pay death benefits and support the surviving widows and children. The system operates as a societal insurance policy. It guarantees that when an ordinary person makes the ultimate sacrifice for a total stranger, their family will not be condemned to financial ruin. The Carnegie Commission evaluates these cases using cold, calculating logic. But when you listen to the awardees describe the moment they stepped into danger, a strange recurring pattern emerges. After saving a mother and 2 children from a roof, 16-year-old Tyler Sowden told reporters, "I wasn't thinking, I just ran." Landon, the teen who pulled his family from a fire, echoed the exact same sentiment, stating he had no second thoughts. A checklist can organize the metrics of heroism, but it cannot capture the raw, unthinking reflex that drives a person into a fire. Today, it is easy to focus on the bystander effect. We see videos of crowds watching emergencies unfold through phone screens, and it feels like human self-preservation has replaced basic decency. But Andrew Carnegie began his 1904 Deed of Trust with a very different thesis. He wrote, "We live in a heroic age." In the 120 years since he signed that paper, the Commission has awarded more than 10,000 medals. They have built a massive, continuous ledger documenting thousands of moments where regular people chose to risk everything. This record shows that despite modern cynicism, the impulse to protect a stranger remains intact. Delivery drivers, high school students, and neighbors continue to bridge the gap between disaster and professional help.